You guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Keeta'Jay, and this is all things nerdy. If you are not new here, welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome to my channel, you guys. If you like what I do, please comment, subscribe, hit that little bell notification so that you can get notified every time I upload a new video, which is usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. So we are completing, well, not completing, but this is day 2 of Sailor Moon week, and I wanted to do a complete video on Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus. Now, the reason that I chose these two is because they are the first LGBT couple on television. Now, there's a humongous difference in the anime from Japan, which is the one that's not English, and the anime that we were exposed to here in America and Canada, and I think Australia also. Now, I'm gonna get into some of those things, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video. So, Neptune, I love her because she was the first Sailor Scout to awaken herself. She didn't need the cats to come in and awaken her. She had a lot of dreams and a lot of visions, and those dreams and those visions ultimately ended up in her becoming awakened and realizing who she was as a person. And for Uranus, she's just a big flirt. You can't help but to enjoy knowing that, she got by in her days as a flirt. Uranus in the 4th season, when we started to see Neptune and Uranus, what people don't know is in the comics, Uranus was ultimately flirting with Usagi, which is Sailor Moon. She was flirting with her a lot. And at first, Usagi wasn't really feeling it. She didn't like it. She wasn't really understanding of the situation. And Uranus would constantly bug her. And then there was a scene from the comic where she actually kisses Usagi. Well, Neptune kisses Usagi, and Usagi was just taken back by the situation. And after a while, she started flirting. Usagi started flirting back, and it was this cutesy back and forth thing. Uranus was such a jerk. She started calling Usagi the nickname that Tuxedo Mask was calling her. And then after that, she started calling her Kitten. So it was always a sexual tension when we dealt with Uranus. There was always something there. Now, we don't know that as Americans in Canada. And like I said, I think Australia also, we wouldn't have known that because our cartoon that came to us, well, I'm going to speak for America because I've never lived in Australia or Canada. So here in America, my cartoon, my version of Sailor Moon, probably was just like the ones in Canada. And we were introduced to Neptune and Uranus as cousins. And that's what we believed for a long time until you might have even researched yourself or you started realizing that there was a whole nother version of this cartoon. I realized when I was 16 that wasn't necessarily the case, but I didn't realize how deep it was until 21 when I actually started reading the comics and putting myself out there to watch the actual cartoon from the original place it came from, which is in Japan. So the reason that our countries decided that they wanted to flip it around is because it wasn't socially acceptable to have a openly gay anything on television at that time. 91, 92, from 91 through 97, that wasn't something that we seen a lot of on TV, especially me. I don't know about everyone else, but I didn't see a lot of gay characters or understand what gay characters were because they were not really depicted on television. I understood what gay was, but you didn't really get to see it on TV. We definitely didn't see it in our cartoons. So when we got our hands, when the broadcasting stations got their hands on it here in America and in Canada and Australia, they flipped it. They made it seem like they were cousins. Now, what's crazy about that is even though they're being depicted as cousins, they look like kissing cousins. They were extremely close. And it's just one of those things that no matter how you want to spin it around, you couldn't hide. I mean, you tried to bury it as much as you could, but you really couldn't hide the tension between two cousins. You know what I mean? But as a child at 5 through 7, you don't realize that there's tension. You don't know what the hell that is. But if you watch some old American versions of Sailor Moon, there's definitely tension there. Or it could just be me putting it in my head because I know for a fact that they're not cousins. So there's that. Okay, so that is the biggest. I mean, that's really more about what this video is about. Why we did not get the opportunity to see them as they were depicted in Japan. And I mean, Japan is progressive. They are doing things that we don't understand anyway. So I could imagine it being completely okay to have two women being in a relationship over there because they're a little bit more advanced in certain things and certain technologies and certain lifestyles over there. Not only that, we dealt with Uranus. She would sometimes dress like a girl and then sometimes dress like a boy. And in our version, from what I remember, she was always dressed like a boy. But the thing is, I think that here in America, they went out of their way to make us believe Uranus was a boy. Because I remember for a really long time, Uranus... I remember for a really long time, I was like, oh, that's a boy. And I would go back and forth with like my cousins. Like if we were up watching the cartoon, we would go back and forth. Like, no, that's a girl. No, that's a boy. Like, and I was team, that's a boy. And then it wasn't until, and my cousins would be like, well, why does he wear a dress when he switches? Da da da. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I found stupid reasons. I was 5, so don't pay me no attention. But for a really long time here in America, a lot of people thought that Uranus was a boy. And when I started doing more research on the couple, that was like one of the first things that popped up, like, is Uranus a boy or a girl? And so for a really long time, people believe that. If you guys see me looking down, it's because I wrote notes and I just want to make sure I touch on everything. I just want to make sure I touch on everything. So anyway, the LGBT community is one of those things that's close to me because I have family and friends that's in it. And so to have a cartoon that is allowing that to be shown in a positive way, I love it. I can't help but to love it. And I really do wish that we would have been allowed to see it as kids because it took us a really long time. Sailor Moon was one of those things that it was an influence. You know, you wanted to be Usagi. You wanted to be, you understand? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wanted to be these girls as little girls growing up. We didn't have a lot. I think we had Wonder Woman, but we didn't really get to see her, as often as we did with Sailor Moon. I watched Sailor Moon every single Saturday early in the morning, and during the weekdays, I would purposely wake up on, before I was supposed to, so I could see if I could catch it during the weekdays. So to be able to see that on TV would have made life a little bit easier to understand, especially when you was in middle school and you were still watching cartoons. Well, at least I was. And like certain friends would tell you that they like girls or they like boys, and it's like you have to force yourself to understand it because that's your friend and you love them. But I think having a cartoon that's that progressive and allowing us to see that it's a healthy, happy relationship, just like any other relationship, would have probably been really, really good for us as kids. It definitely wouldn't have swayed my decision to be straight or gay, but it would have definitely helped me understand it better. And I think where we went wrong once we got our hands on the cartoon with the two characters is that we turned them into cousins trying to hide what it really was. And I think that's where we went wrong. I think that we could have had an opportunity to explain it. But when I was talking to one of my older friends who also into anime, and she brought up a really good point when I told her I was going to do this video. And her point was that back in those times, in the 97s, and up to maybe early 2000s, people really did believe that if our children, us, watched cartoons or movies or TV shows that depicted gay characters, lesbian characters, bisexual characters, they did believe that if we depicted things like that, that would alter our decision in life if we wanted to be gay or straight. And so they were trying to rid that almost, so they tried to hide it, and it would be like sexual undertones for things, but we were too young to understand what those things were. So naturally, it just kind of got overlooked as children. But when I found out that Neptune in Japan, that Neptune and Uranus was a couple, I was happy. I was happy as hell because I have a best friend that's gay, and I found out she was gay in middle school. So I was like, that's amazing. Like, great. That's like, I applauded it. I have always been exposed to the gay community. I have a transgender aunt. Well, my mother's best. She grew up with my mom. She's transgender, and I love her. And I was always kind of, it was always kind of explained to me, the situation. So I was cool with it. I loved it. I love seeing it. But I think a lot of people missed out on some things because the storyline is so much better with the two of them, um, being together versus being cousins. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I felt like this was an important video to get out, not just because of the Sailor Moon, but because we came from a generation, or we come from a generation where it's not acceptable to be who you are as a person. And this is one of those cartoons that I would encourage people to watch. Even if you're just watching it to see Neptune and Uranus relationship, I think it's a good thing to see because it shows that it's okay to be who you are, and you can still be a superhero. You can still be amazing. And they most definitely were amazing. They are amazing separately. They are amazing as a couple. They were amazing as cousins, but I'd have just preferred if they weren't. That was one thing. I don't know why my phone keeps locking on me like that. There was one thing that I wanted to share with you guys also, outside of the fact that Uranus was trying to get Sailor Moon. The super movie, the supers. The movie was almost for Uranus and Neptune. It was almost a Uranus and Neptune movie before they turned it into what it was. They were going to get a movie because they wanted to continue to explore the relationship with the two of them. Also, Uranus and Neptune, and Venus. Venus had a comic book by herself, and Neptune and Uranus always made appearances in her mangas. And so, or mangas. Aaron says mangas. We go back and forth. So I'm gonna say mangas because baby say mangas. Inside the manga, see, I say what I want. And because of that, because of how popular the two characters were, they were actually going to get a movie just for the two of them, and we were going to get to explore their relationship and explore their awakening and explore what it was for them. And I thought that would have been dope. Listen, if anybody ever comes across this has any association with Sailor Moon, I would pay to see a Neptune and Uranus movie. I would pay to see it. I don't know if you guys are ever going to do it. You probably won't. But I would pay to see that movie. I would do it. I'd pay to see it. I don't know about you guys, but I most definitely would. That's all I had to say for that, you guys. I wanted to bust the news down, although I said it in my facts video, but the reason why we didn't get to see that relationship, Shirt don't like me. I wanted to basically just break down the reason why we didn't know that here in America as children watching the cartoon. It was because our broadcasting stations felt like it was just not a good image for us. But I love them as a couple. And I'm just happy that somebody thought it was a great idea to make them that way. So thank you to the creator of Sailor Moon for giving us that. That is all for today, you guys. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a whole bunch of facts. I just wanted to talk about why it wasn't depicted the same way in America as it was in Japan. That's all I wanted to do for you guys today. I will see you guys on Saturday with the last Sailor Moon video. I'm not going to spoil it because it's something kind of... So, with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.